Okay. Yeah. So because I've just started recording, welcome everyone. So this presentation will has around 21 slides, 21, 22 slides. The first few slides are on the technical aspects of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. So that will be fairly technical. I do not want you to try and remember anything. Just try and understand as much as you can. The idea behind this presentation is not to make you experts in artificial intelligence or to teach you all the tools related to artificial intelligence or chat gpt. The idea is to allow you and give you uh, the keywords, the main idea behind how artificial intelligence works, and towards the end of it maybe leave you with a kind of a mental template that helps you utilize and helps you deal with further technologies and further technologies related to and applications related to artificial intelligence that come up in the future. Because whether we like it or not, we are going to be dealing with this technology in a very deep and broad way in our lives going forward. The technology has reached a stage of uh, you know as they say Cambrian blooming. The technology has suddenly become very very user friendly, and it has become something like a smartphone. So it will be very very popular, and it will probably take over a large part of our life. So it is important for us to understand or and develop a basic appreciation of the technology, and that is the main purpose of this presentation, not to make experts out of it all. Having said that, let me just start my presentation. Let me share my screen. Okay. Oops. Seems this. Mhm. Screen sharing has hanged. I'm sorry, my screen had hanged. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so this is why I don't trust the technology too much. Can you see the PPT slide?
yes,
Okay. Can you see the first slide, the title slide?
Yes,
yes,
you can.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a quote by Arthur C. Clarke where he says that any sufficient technology is indistinguishable from magic. If you have tried out ChatGPT and you have seen how human-like it feels and how obviously human it is not, then you would think that this is really really magical. But believe me, it's not magic. It's just a lot of progress in science and technology that has slowly led us to this stage. Uh, but it is important to understand that it's a very, very powerful technology and a technology that we have to understand to live our lives in the future. So this diagram basically tells you the path that we are going to take through this presentation. There is first the concept of artificial intelligence, under which there is a concept of machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, transformer architecture, natural language processing, generative artificial intelligence, large language models, and chat GPT. So I'm going to cover all of these keywords. These are the main keywords related to chat GPT that you'll get to hear everywhere. And it is important to, not important, but it's good to know what these things are in a in a high level overview manner. We are not going to go into in-depth way into these technologies because they are very very complicated and it's very difficult to understand them. So I'll just kind of give you overviews of all of these. So what is artificial intelligence? Now the thing is, there is still no consensus on what human intelligence is. Intelligence per se is. So we are always going to have a. It is still being debated. There are multiple intelligences: emotional intelligence, mathematical intelligence, animal intelligence, and there are schools of thought that say that even inanimate objects have some kind of sentience. So in that context, artificial intelligence, the definition of artificial intelligence itself is kind of contested. But we can say that it is a field that is under the field of computer science, and it involves a lots and lots of computer programming, which is called coding. So now, why have we got into this? Why do we want to have an artificial intelligence? But what I feel is that we've always wanted to have somebody who does our work, whether it's because we are lazy, or maybe because we want to grow more, do more with less effort, with less cost. Maybe we have a God complex that we want to make something in our own image who has the same kind of intelligence. But most importantly, we want somebody to take away our effort, to take our work, somebody who can do problem solving, decision making, have a natural conversation with us, and has a certain degree of autonomy so that it feels like a person. I have a feeling that human beings do it more from the point of view of trying out new things and creativity rather than something else. But it would be great from the point of view of productivity, industrialization, if we have something that is highly intelligent, massively scalable, and does not tire at all. So that is why I feel we are into the field of artificial intelligence. So this is the basic evolution of artificial intelligence. From 50s to 60s, there were basic programming languages. In 80s to 1980s to 2000s, the field of machine learning and neural networks came up, which is into recognizing patterns and speech. Then natural language processing came up in the 2000s, where the field tries to work to develop computer systems that understand the way we speak naturally. And then 2010s to the present time, deep learning and transformers are some technologies that came up within the field of artificial intelligence that leapfrogged natural language processing. Okay, and then in 2020s onwards, we have ChatGPT, which feels extremely intelligent and extremely creative, which we will have a demonstration of. Okay, what is machine learning? Now, machine learning, there are two words. There's a machine that is learning, and it is called learning because unlike just doing certain programming, like you'd say that, okay, you add this plus this, what it does is that it learns from a large data bank and looks for a logic or a pattern within that data bank. So if it will look at pictures of say 10,000 different objects and see what is the pattern in it, or look at an entire book and try to see what is the pattern in it. So it is, in a there is an algorithm that tells it to learn. So it will use historical data as input and create new output values, and it will try to become more and more accurate in its predictions. So there are three types of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. In supervised learning, it works on labeled data. Labeled data is like you show a picture of apple and you give the text, this is apple. So that is labeled data. And then there is unsupervised learning where there is no labeled data. So there are pictures of 1000 different varieties of fruits, and it will just try to put all the apples together and put all the oranges together by identifying the patterns. And then there is reinforcement learning where you reward it every time it identifies an apple correctly, and the rewarding happens within the programming itself. It's very complicated, but just try to understand that this kind of thing is happening. So neural networks again, under the field of machine learning, there is a subfield called neural networks, which is basically mimicking the pattern of brain neurons. It is based on the design of brain neurons where there are many different nodes that connect with all of them connect with each other. It's like a neuron with all those strands going out and connecting. And somebody, this was an innovation in computer science where they put different codes, snippets of codes to connect with each other and talk to each other. Okay, and because it's based on the design of the brain neuron, it's called neural networks, or sometimes artificial neural networks, which is the more accurate word for it. And it can do image recognition, natural language processing, translation, medical diagnosis, fraud detection. All the technologies that I'm going to talk about after this, they all do these things based on the machine learning system. Machine learning is the grandfather of all the technologies that are going to come after this. So just understand this. I will share these slides with you, and if you have any questions, we can talk about that later. So one difference between neural networks and brain, our human brain, is that the brain um, uh, can do multiple things. It can learn to do multiple things, but normally neural networks are trained to do one particular thing, like image recognition or language translation. This is your basic neural network, and I'm not talking about the technologies that are going to come after this. Neural networks are definitely faster than the brain, but the brain is more adaptable to different types of technologies. Okay. So you have machine learning, you have neural networks, and now we have deep learning. The difference between neural networks and deep learning is that neural networks have some nodes. Within neural networks, we have the deep learning technology, which has many different layers of nodes. Okay, it's like having a very dense brain. Okay, so what happens is that if you have a very dense electronic brain, it can do a lot more in terms of I'm just admitting some people, sorry. So it can do a lot more in terms of processing data. It is trained on a large corpus of data, and because it is the architecture is dense and it has certain kinds of special algorithms, it is able to learn complex patterns and relationships in data, which normal neural networks cannot. Okay, like if they see a picture, they can identify you in a picture. You must have seen those pictures in sci-fi movies where a person is walking in a CCTV footage, and they can see the face of the person. It is in a box. So that is the kind of technology that deep learning can do. Okay, and based on various kinds of input data, it can also predict customer behavior. So that gives some kind of projection to companies. But the important thing is, as this technology becomes more and more advanced, its creators cannot really understand how deep learning, that the algorithms in deep learning work, because there are thousands of layers and millions of connections within those layers, and how the computer is speaking to each other, the computers and the algorithms are speaking to each other. It's very, very difficult to catch hold of those conversations. Those conversations are obviously bits and bytes. So it's kind of difficult for the creators to know how these deep learning algorithms work. You have to understand that we are not talking about a laptop here and there. We are talking about huge buildings full of servers, really, really fast servers like supercomputers that are doing this kind of computing. It requires a large number of processors. So now there is a side field called natural language processing. Just a sec. So there's a side field called natural language processing, where, and this has been around for quite some time, which is also called computational linguistics, where scientists try to get computers to understand and speak our language. Okay, so that is the main thing. So, speech recognition, text summarization, answering our questions, machine translation. Machine translation is basically getting a machine to translate from one language to another language. So all these things come within natural language processing. It is a very simple term. And deep learning has revolutionized the field of NLP in the recent years, because deep learning has made computers understand the patterns and understand the various syntaxes of language much better than before, simply because deep learning technologies are able to see patterns on a larger scale and in a deeper way. I hope you are writing down. If you have any questions, we'll take it up at the end. Now we come to a technology that is fairly recent, and it was first proposed in a paper called "Attention is All You Need" by, incidentally, a Google scientist called Ashish Vaswani and his team. He was one of the main writers. And transformers is a technology under neural networks. Basically, it's an interesting tweak in neural networks that suddenly gave a major leap to both neural networks and natural language processing. Okay, so what happens is, because the way transformers technology works, it is actually a very simple tweak that they proposed, but the tweak suddenly gave huge gains in parallel processing. Parallel processing means that, parallel processing is basically multitasking for computers. Okay, so instead of doing one task, it can do millions of comparisons, millions of connections, millions of assessments at the same time. So the transformer technology allowed neural networks to do language understanding or language analysis much faster, at a larger scale, and in a deeper way. So the machines can learn patterns and relationships, between words that are far from each other. Usually computers have difficulty. Computers used to work in a sequential manner. So like, I am hungry, so it will say, okay, I is followed by am is followed by hungry. In some cases it follows something like hot. Okay, but sometimes one word in English language means several things. What Transformers has done is help natural language processing understand a word in context. Now you can imagine that, when we're talking to ChatGPT, it seems like it understands our context. It understands our context because it has seen all contexts, and it is able to identify the context in which you are talking and respond accordingly. So that has happened because of the transformers architecture. So because of that, everything that follows, every artificial intelligence that will follow, would be better at translation, better at text summarization, answering your question, sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is basically looking at a huge amount of text and say whether it is positive, whether it is negative, or whether there is enthusiasm, whether there is sadness, that kind of thing, because it is able to see the relationships between words that may be miles away from each other. So transformers is the last major technology breakthrough in the field of neural networks. Now, what is generative AI? So what transformers technology has done is, it has basically led to generative AI. Generative AI is nothing but an AI technology that is able to generate new content like text, images, music, code, voice, any kind of content you can think about. Generative AI can create it. It can create because the transformers technology, the neural networks already have learned from huge databases of content what is the relationship between the text, the images. So for instance, I'll give a very crude example. If you tell the computer that this is an apple, apple is this picture, you ask it, it will tell you. If you say generate the picture of an apple, it will give you the picture of an apple. But it can also do something else. Say you want the picture of a smiling apple. So the technology knows what smiling is, it knows what an apple is. It will just superimpose it or create some kind of a chimera of an apple that is smiling. So generative AI is basically any AI that generates anything, and it emphasizes content creation. I've given a list of some generative AI technologies that are currently available. We have GPT-3, 4, Lambda, Megatron Turing, Wudao, which is a Chinese, generative AI. You have DALI, Imagine, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. These are image generation generative AIs. Then you have music generation AIs, which generate music just out of a text prompt. And you have code generation AIs that are really, really powerful. You really don't need to code a lot anymore. You have voice synthesis AIs, which are extremely dangerous, but they are there. Basically, they can synthesize any voice. And you have 3D model generation AIs to create 3D models that can help you, become a better architect. Sorry. So now you must have heard this a lot. Large language models. Uh, Large language models are a type of generative AI that can generate a lot of uh, a lot of text because they have been trained on a large, extremely large data set or corpus of text, images, and what have you. So, for instance, I'll come to ChatGPT. It can be in terabytes of data. Okay, but you have to remember one thing, that it's as the definition here is, it's a probabilistic model of natural language that can generate probabilities of a series of words based on the database that it has been trained on the multiple languages. And because it's a large language model and it has seen a large number of words, large number of context, large number of usages, it is able to generate better output for your questions, or it can interact with you much better. Okay, so their size combined with transformer architecture makes them immensely powerful at understanding and generating human language, to the extent that you will actually feel that you're having a conversation with a fairly smart human being. But they are again computer programs. And there I've listed some large language models here. You have Bard from Google, you have Bloom from Hugging Face, GPT-3, GPT-4 from OpenAI, Lambda again from Google, and Palm also from Google, Wudao from Beijing Academy of Artificial Intelligence, which is also fairly powerful large language model, is what I've heard. Okay, so now I'm going back to this figure that I had showed in the beginning. Now everything has probably you have seen the sequence in which we have gone. We have artificial intelligence, and intelligence that will mimic us. We have machine learning, machines that learn and remember how to do things. We have neural networks, which are basically machines that can learn better. Deep learning, machines that can learn better and better. Transformer architecture, which can make machines literally talk in our language. Natural language processing, which is a technology that helps computers converse with us in a human language. You have generative AI that can turn things into your prompts, or turn whatever you ask into images, voice, text, anything. And you have large language models, which are based on a huge corpus of data, which is text, images, voices, sounds, anything. Okay, and then finally you have ChatGPT. So I have now finished the first section of the presentation. Now I'll move on to ChatGPT. We have other, I think, 7-8 slides. I will take the questions in the end. So let me just finish this part. When we do the demo part, then maybe we can have a conversation. So what is, I hope you're taking notes. So what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT basically stands for chatbot, generative AI, pre-trained transformer. Basically, it's a chatbot, but it is a generative AI based chatbot which has been pre-trained on a large language model and uses the transformer architecture. So basically, that should tell you what all technologies are involved there. So GPT-3, so there are various versions of Chat GPT is based on the technology called GPT, which is similarly generative pre-trained transformer. GPT-3 was trained on 45 terabytes of compressed plain text data, scraped from public internet, Wikipedia, and all the books that it could find on the internet. Okay, so that's a huge amount of information that it has been trained on. 45 terabytes of data would be billions of words. Okay, and the current implementation of chat GPT that we will see is GPT 3.5. Okay, so GPT 3.5 can generate different types of creative text like poems, code, scripts, music pieces, email, letter. You can ask it to draft letters for you. It can do a lot of things. It can answer your questions in a comprehensive and informative manner, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. And it can follow your instructions and complete your request thoughtfully. Basically, it will, you will feel that there's some degree of thought and consideration has been put behind it. It's just the technology, but it will feel fairly sincere and human. Now, the next, there are two versions of GPT available to the public right now. One is GPT 3.5, which is free, which is what we will see, and GPT 4, which is said to be 10 times more advanced than GPT 3.5. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen demos of it and it's mind-boggling. It can, but the most important difference between 3.5 and 4 is that 4 can understand the nuances of the context better and can generate more factual and creative answers, translate better, answer questions more comprehensively. It can code better, plan better, solve better. It's just 10 times more, 10 times better than GPT 3.5. Only thing is GPT-4 is not free. It is available for a subscription of $20 per month. So I thought many times to take the subscription for this presentation. Then I just saw a lot of demos and made up my mind. I mean, I don't think I needed to do that. So anyway, so excuse me. So you must have heard people talking about prompting, prompt engineering in terms of in the context of chat GPT. So what is a prompt? Prompt is simply an instruction that you type into the chat GPT window, an instruction, a sentence, a phrase, anything into the chat GPT window, and based on that prompt, chat GPT will respond to you. Okay, so now chat GPT is an advanced technology, but it is not a mind reader. Okay, because if it cannot read your mind, it does not know what you are looking for. Therefore, it is extremely important that you create your prompts in a way that helps ChatGPT give you better answers. Okay, so for that you'll have to be very clear and specific about what you're looking for. Try not to give very broad instructions or questions. Try to be as specific as possible. But of course, I'm not saying that you don't do that. I mean, if you're trying to have fun or just have a general conversation with ChatGPT, which you can ask them, hi, how are you? I'm okay, that kind of thing. But if you're looking at ChatGPT for work or you want a specific output, you're using it as a tool, ask very specific questions. In fact, give a context. It's always better to give a context. So for instance, if I normally tell it that I'm a copy editor, I'm working on this kind of project, and this is the kind of problem I'm facing. You act as an expert copy editor, and now tell me how to solve this particular question. This is the kind of output I'm looking for. So it makes sense to give a context within which chat gpt will start tuning itself. So what happens is that behind the screen, chat gpt will start looking for all the information related to that context and then bring it forward. Okay, and providing behavioral cues like telling it to be more creative or more informative helps it respond accordingly. Sometimes if you ask it to be more creative, it will give funny literary kind of answers, and if you ask it to be informative, it will give you very factual answers. So it helps to give that kind of behavioral cue. And if you tell it that you have to act like a particular person, like act like an accountant or act like a motivational speaker or act like a financial advisor, so the answers are demonstratively better. At least that's what I have seen, that many people are advising it to be, for us to give it a role. If you give it a role, it answers better. If you have complex instructions, you break it down into logical stages or steps. That helps ChatGPT understand the big picture and give better answers to you. And if you give it examples of the output that you're looking for, so for instance, you want it to, format references in a particular way. If you give it an example, look, this is how a correct reference looks like, then it will be able to handle the text better. And then there are many other it depends on your imagination and your ability to think clearly, what kind of examples you can give it. You can reinforce, this is something that a lot of people have said, you reinforce the learning using positive and negative feedback. So you can tell it that, okay, this is fine, but what this part was wrong, so please do this correctly. Or this is fine, please do more of this. So what will happen is that chat gpt will learn that this is what it has to do and this is what it doesn't have to do, and the next answer would be better. Okay, so it helps to give it that kind of a feedback. And experiment with different types of prompts. Try to use different types of words, try to use different types of logics, try to use different lengths of prompts to see what gives you better answers. So don't feel shy about interacting with ChatGPT. It's a free software. You're not exhausting anything except your internet bandwidth and your time. So experiment with the different types of languages that will get you better answers. Having said that, everything depends on whether you can think clearly and articulate yourself clearly and logically. If you yourself are muddled up in your brain, you may not be able to give the best instructions to ChatGPT. Also, if your grip over the English language isn't that great, that is going to cause some degree of frustration, because the better you are able to articulate yourself or your requirement to ChatGPT, the better it will be able to give you a response. I'm sure there will be questions. Please note them down. I'll take it up in the end. So, so now I will give some, these are some general prompting examples, but I will, now is my time to give you some demo. So I'll just stop the sharing and show my screen for the demo. Okay. We have 65 participants. That's wonderful. Okay. Just a sec. I'll just show you some of the demo files that I've created on ChatGPT. How do I close this? Okay. So, let's try this. Can you see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here is a prompt. Let me just copy it. And I'll paste it. The prompt is: I'm a medical editor. I copied dense, boring medical research articles for a journal. I find it very difficult to get through the task. It's tedious and boring due to the nature of the text. I easily get distracted. I'm unable to meet my daily target of edited articles. What should I do to improve my ability to stick to the work and my targets? Okay, so let me just run it. Are you able to read the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it
Want
says
to
editing.
some background noise. I think someone's something is on, so we can hear someone talking in the background. Some kind of noise is coming, which is creating some kind of disturbance.
Can you mute everyone, Anupam? Just might be.
Okay, I'll mute everyone, and I think I've muted everyone now, but I will, how do I, okay. So here we have, so it says editing dense and technical medical research article can be challenging, etc., etc. It says set realistic goals, do your time management, create a distraction-free environment, prioritize tasks, break tasks into smaller steps, engage with the content, use editing tools, have a reward system for yourselves, learn continuously, seek peer support, take mental breaks, set clear boundaries, stay healthy, consider alternative roles, and seek supervisory feedback. So now what is happening here is that you could have come up with these answers if you had just tried to think about it. But what is happening here is that it has an entire database of all these things that people do when they are in this kind of situation. It has found out the relationships between your question, the words in your question, and the various things in the database that it has, and very quickly generated this answer to you for you, which is kind of helpful. This is the kind of answer you were probably looking for anyway. It obviously can't do the work for you, but this is fairly helpful. So let me take another prompt. Okay, I think I had already done one, so I'll show you that one. So this is a prompt that I saw somewhere else as a sample prompt, and I ran it. It says, I want you to act as an accountant and come up with creative ways to manage finances. You need to consider budgeting, investment strategies, and risk management when creating financial plan for your client. It's a very specific kind of prompt, but the thing is that they have the answer that it generates is fairly comprehensive, and it kind of creates a blueprint for you to become a better manager of your finances. Okay, but I feel that in such questions there aren't many specifics, because it's not like it's sitting next to you and it will say, okay, fine, show me your account books. Eventually, I feel that will happen, but not as of now. But as you can see, this answer is fairly comprehensive. Assess the current financial situation, budgeting, emergency funds, debt management, long-term investment strategy, employee benefits, risk management, regular monitoring, etc., etc., etc. Now, for somebody who has absolutely no clue about these things, and there are many of us who have no clue about these things, this is a great starting point for us to start looking at things in a way that will help us manage our finances better. Okay, now let me take another one. So the prompt is, I have an idea and I want to develop it further. Basically, I feel that many problems can be solved if we are able to spend time thinking about them. I'm calling it planned thinking. I plan to schedule a time in the day to sit, etc., etc. Could you please flesh out this idea? Now, this is something. This is a conversation that I had with ChatGPT a few months ago, and it says it basically fleshes out the idea in such a way that it would have, I could have done it, but I would have taken hours to do this. Okay, so now I had an idea. It has practically written a guide book kind of a thing. It's a blog article for me which I can publish. Okay, I mean, of course, I thought of it for myself, but it has given the definition, it has given the key principles, it has given benefits of planned thinking, it has given practical implementation, everything. So now what happens is that, when we talk about artificial intelligence as a magic wand, sometimes this is the magic. And this is how advanced this technology is, that with the click of a button, magically, uh, the whole picture is created. Okay, but it is obviously not magic. It is something that is happening in the background. What we have to remember is that this magic wand can help us do more in less time. Okay, let me get to another one. This is another question that I had asked ChatGPT to learn. Basically, this is a subject that I wanted to learn about. So I asked it, what are the philosophical arguments around the idea of superiority of human life over the lives of other species on Earth? So it gives an answer. Uh, so it breaks down the various philosophical arguments about superiority of human life over other lives on Earth into the various arguments that it has read in the database, and it's a lot. Religious and theological arguments, anthropocentrism. I knew only about anthropocentrism. And there is utilitarianism, environmental ethics, biocentrism, and ethnocentrism, ecocentrism, cognitive and moral capacity, ecosystem services and interdependence, moral consideration, and compassion. So now, if you are a person who wants to learn about something that is being taught in your school or in a course, and you want a succinct way to learn about it without buying books or listening to your teacher, this is a great way to learn about it. And even if you're not doing any course, you can learn about it by just asking ChatGPT about the subject. But you will have to be very clear in what you're looking for. Like I said, I did not say why is human life superior. I said very specifically the philosophical arguments around the idea of superiority of human life. So when you're asking it, you have to be clear. You have to ask exactly what you're looking for. Don't be ambiguous. I'll do another one. So this is something for editors. Now, basically, I was editing an article, and I was when I edit articles, if I have questions for the author, I keep notes in a notepad, and once the editing is over, I kind of write it properly as author queries. Okay. So what I did instead this time is I said these are here are the notes. Convert them into proper author queries. Be polite, because obviously we want author queries to be polite. We have to be. It has to be well written. Uh, and let's see what it does. As you can see, what I have written are really bad notes. Full forms of AVM, ICPC. What I want is that what I want to write is please provide the full forms of these terms. Let's see what ChatGPT does. So as you can see, it has converted the query about full forms into, could you please provide the full forms of AVM, ICP, and CA? This is exactly how I want to write. I would have written. Okay. And could brain radiology, so what my question was, brain radiological images, can this be the title of figure 1? Okay. It converted into, could brain radiological images be considered as a suitable title for figure 1? Now, this is the kind of force multiplier that ChatGPT can be in helping you do your work. So it just reduces your work by a large extent. And I could ask it to do a lot more about it. Like, so for instance, I can ask a follow up instruction. Please give the above queries as numbered queries. See, I mean, this is the first time I'm doing it. As you can see, it has done it perfectly. Auto query 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me try another one. Please do the same, but uh, uh, add answer below the question. Let's see what it does. Now you have your perfect author query document, right? So it depends on you how you interact with the technology. The technology understands a lot of things, but everything depends on how you interact with the technology. And this is
Anupam, there was a query by someone.
queries in the end.
No,
So
someone is not able to see the screen.
Well, if they are not able to see this, are you able to see your screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Then
we
then
can
that
see. Yes.
yeah, then it's I can't help it from this side. Sorry. Uh okay. What else was there? So these were some of the demo prompts that I had created, and there are I had given an assignment that I wanted people to do. I don't know how many of you did it, but that must have shown you, some weird things how it works. So let me try one of these. Let me ask it to write a short poem about a mad post box. Okay, now that's a very weird kind of a thing. Let's see what it does. It's a weird combination. In the heart of the bustling town square's fray stands a post box peculiar in every way, with a coat of bright red and cap askew, is the maddest post box. That much is true. So now this is a very nicely written, rhyming four stanza poem. It feels, how did they do this? How did it do this? The fact is that now here the question comes: what differentiates us from the machine? Okay, if the machine can also write poems, then how are we better than the machines? Now, there is the biggest existential question for us. How are we going, as human beings, how are we going to demonstrate to ourselves that we are better than the machines? The machine does not have a body. Eventually, it will have a body. It will eventually be put into an android. But the point is, how are we different from the machines, if not better? The machine does not have empathy right now. The machine does not have it does not have what is called common sense right now. It is only a program. It is actually just a large number of algorithms that work together. And the fact is, if you can do only as much as chat gpt, then you should not expect anybody to offer you something more than what chat gpt what anything more than what they can get from chat gpt. People can get chat gpt to do a lot of things, but as human beings we have to do a lot more than chat gpt from the point of view. So if you are a copy editor or an editor who does very basic stuff, then that is not a major selling point anymore. As a professional, your value addition should be something very, very different and superior to what any machine can do anymore. And that is something that you'll have to look at for the next maybe whatever number of years. Okay. Somebody Okay, I'll come back to these next points later. I'll go to the next slide, which is what many people this what many people ask. Excuse me. This is the most important question that everybody asks in all industries: will AI take away my job? As I said previously, if what you are doing can be done by chat gpt with very less effort, if you are taking maybe half an hour to write a letter, draft a letter, chat gpt will do it in a few seconds. So most probably your life your job will be phased out eventually. Okay, financial analysts are going to be phased out, a lot of report writers are going to be phased out, content writers will be phased out, customer service reps, because now chat gpt is also available as voice. Okay, it's available on as a mobile phone app. So data entry thing, you take a picture of raw data and just give it to chat gpt, it will convert it into a proper tabular data. I haven't seen the demo of that, but it's just a matter of time and it will happen. Okay, anything that can be automated will be automated, whether it's stock trading or truck driving. A lot of the jobs that we do are actually a series of logical steps. Okay, the more complex and the more how should I say, how the more it depends on intuition rather than hard logic, the safer you are. But if it can be broken down into a series of steps, then it will eventually be phased out. So what you have to do is you have to think about it from the point of view of what kind of value addition you are doing. So now I'm talking about here about affirmative action and unionization. So you must have heard about the strike that happened in Hollywood, the Writers Guild of America and the SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild of America. They are all striking to get better wages. A part of the contract they are trying to sign, WG has already succeeded. It is on not allowing Chat GPT type of artificial intelligences to remove them from work. So they have been able to, because they are unionized, they were able to force the Producers Guild to ensure that they will not hire Chat GPT to write scripts, the television scripts. Okay. When I'm talking about affirmative action is like a reservation policy that a government has. If the government says that every organization has to have maybe 20 or 30% of the staff as humans and not artificial intelligence in a particular function. Say, for instance, you are working for a publisher, the publisher says that I'll remove all copy editors because I don't need them, but the government says no, you'll have to have at least 20% copy editors. Then you may be able to retain your job, but that's not going to happen. Government is not going to, most governments will not do that, at least not now. We'll see what kind of impact it happens on all industries, and then maybe something will happen. The other ways in which you can probably help yourself is specializing in some tasks. So for instance, certain kind of specialization. So for instance, if you are a specialist in copy editing in a particular genre or a particular subject area, then what will happen is you will develop a mental corpus that is much bigger than what Chat GPT in general would have, and the responses will be more nuanced and more polished than what ChatGPT normally would do. And usually what will happen, only the high end, high paying clients will come to you, which is great for you. Of course, it also means for us, it is extremely important to ensure that ChatGPT does not take away our job, or artificial intelligence does not take away our job, is to learn all these technologies, which is why we are having this presentation. Learn all these technologies, learn how these technologies can make you a better writer, a better editor, a better financial analyst. What is happening is that a lot of complexity of your work will be hidden behind a layer of abstraction. In computer science, there is a term called abstraction. Abstraction is, it's like your mobile phone. Most of us don't know how they work, but we know the user interface, how it works, right? But behind the user interface, what happens, we don't know. We don't need to know. All we need to know is how to use the user interface. Similarly, in ChatGPT, we don't need to know what's happening behind the screen, but in front of the screen, what's happening, you have to have a good grip over that. Learn how to use it for your own benefit. And one of the things I have written here, human organic USPs, basically at some point of time, I've already started talking about it, but there are human writers and there are AI writers, or human editors and AI editors. You will have to eventually start marketing yourself based on the market conditions as a human who is doing it. So for instance, organic vegetables are more expensive as compared to non-organic vegetables. Organic, you know what I mean. So similarly, you could label yourself as an organic, what have you, and maybe charge more or charge as much as you can. Okay. And more importantly, so what has happened recently, I've started doing social media for one of my friends' companies. I took it up only on the condition that I will generate all the social media posts using ChatGPT. He said that is fine. So now my scope and scale has also increased in terms of the amount of work that I can do, because I'm using ChatGPT to write out those texts. All I do is some minor changes, minor edits, minor rephrases, and what would have taken me half a day to do, I'm doing it within 1 hour or maximum 2 hours. So that is something that you will have to consider in everything. So for instance, the way we converted the notes into author queries, so you'll have to think about the various ways in which you can save time. If you save time, You will eventually make more money doing the same work, but your quantum will increase. But also remember one thing: most of our clients are either authors or busy people. They don't want to edit even if they have the option to go into chat gpt and think, get things edited. They are doing something else. Somebody is probably the manager in some company, in a ironworks company. Somebody is a financial analyst. Somebody is a bureaucrat. They don't have time or the interest. In fact, if they find out that these things can easily be given out to somebody else to do, they'd rather give it to a human who specializes in using the tools to do it rather than do it themselves. So that is something that will probably work in favor of us. The other thing that will work in favor of us is the development of AI apps that are very, very specific to our use. So for instance, you will have an AI app that will analyze uh, say radiological images, x-rays and MRIs, and tell the doctor what is the issue. Now here one thing we have to remember: if we are not good editors or writers ourselves, our ability to give good output is not going to be great. You're going to be just average. Okay, you're probably not going to be able to improve ChatGPT's work, or if it gives you a wrong information, you'll not be able to fix it. So it's very important that you first become good at your own work. Okay. I also believe that new business opportunities and service opportunities will be created, which I cannot imagine right now, but it will happen like it has happened in the past. So, for instance, because we have Google, so a lot of apps have come around Google Maps, a lot of apps have come around Google Search. Or, so for instance, if, because we have a mobile phone, there are apps, because we have Android or the Apple ecosystem, many tools have come up that are embedded in our apps, saving us a lot of time and effort. So, those kind of opportunities will come up. Okay. Now, this is something that is an important issue of AI ethics, and that is worrying everybody. First is bias, fairness, equity. Now, I will go through this very quickly. So basically, people, if the training data is somehow tainted, like the most of the training data that ChatGPT uses has been is probably in English and has been developed in the West. Okay, they obviously got information from all the countries, but most of it has developed in the West and has been created by white Western people. So automatically a degree of bias comes into it. Whatever chat gpt or the generative AI technology, large language model sees, it sees that as the norm. Okay, and that creates opportunities for bias, and that is a big issue. Okay, so that is why the training data has to be uh, fixed in some way. And then we have the issue about privacy. If there is unauthorized collection and storage and use of our personal data, this is going to be a major issue, because we don't know where all our information is there. And then there is the issue of hallucination. Now they are calling it hallucination because they are not able to explain it. The programmers behind a large language model, they don't know how they hallucinate. But what hallucination means is that sometimes chat gpt or similar large language models will give you information that is absolutely wrong and imaginary. So if you ask chat gpt to give you a list of references related to some scientific topic, it will give you, at least I've tried, it gave me absolutely fake references. They gave me both bard and chat gpt gave me 10 different fake references. None of them existed. So that is something that you have to be very, very careful about. Don't trust it blindly, at least not now, until we know that it will not hallucinate. It hallucinated even after I said that don't make up the references. It still made up the references. Okay, so now the other issue is accountability. Suppose chat gpt gives you an advice, you follow it, something goes wrong. Who is going to be responsible for it? Is it going to be OpenAI, or is it going to be you, or because they showed you the disclaimer or whatever, or is it going to be the artificial intelligence itself, or is it going to be the first person who suggested the transformers architecture? So these are all topics that are currently being debated, and a lot of discussions are going on. Then you have the issue of autonomy and safety. Does ChatGPT eventually, when artificial intelligence starts looking like an autonomous person, is it a person? Does it have rights? Can it be mean to us? Can it autonomously on its own agency cause us harm? So that is something that ethicists, world over philosophers are talking about. We have issues about plagiarism and copyright violations. The authors, many famous authors have sued OpenAI over copyright violation because ChatGPT mimics their writings, and in some cases it completely copies and pastes their text, their characters, because it has unauthorizedly gone ahead and scraped their books and developed its database to train itself. Okay, so that is a bigger issue that we have to think about. Then we have deep fakes. You probably, all of you know what are deep fakes. Uh, and that is something that I'm going to talk about in the next slide. And then there is the ethical issue behind unauthorized likeness use. So for instance, we have Amitabh Bachchan, and you can use any of those tools to create a likeness of Amitabh Bachchan with his image and voice, and make him act in a video in which you are also featuring. Okay, and you have not taken Amitabh Bachchan's permission, you have not paid him anything, there is no contract. That kind of unauthorized likeness use has already happened, and many people are fighting against it, and that is an ethical issue that we'll be worried about. Okay, and you must have seen some uh, images made through Mid Journey where Trump is being dragged away, which were totally fake. But there are many people in this world who believe that those are not fake. So that's because they're so realistic. Okay, so that is something that we have to be worried about. Now, this is what is artificial general intelligence. If you start talking to theorists in the field of artificial intelligence, they will also talk about artificial general intelligence. Basically, general intelligence is the epitome of artificial intelligence, which is as good or better than a human. Okay, and it's a hypothetical concept right now, but believe me, programmers and scientists are working towards it, and I have a feeling that it will eventually be achieved. But the debate would still be about whether it is actually like a human being, because what it means to be a human being itself is fairly debatable. There are many people who you would call that is less than a human because of the way they act or the things that they say or whatever. So that is going to be debatable, but it is the hope is that once we have it, and it's going to be so powerful that it's going to be able to solve some of our biggest issues, like climate change, diseases, drug discovery that would have taken us 3 years could be done in three hours, something like that. Molecules and economic models and financial analysis, or mathematical problems that, or space travel problems that could have taken us years to figure out, could be figured out in the matter of just uh, hours to days, if it is an artificial general intelligence which has a huge amount of information and huge amount of intelligence. They say that ChatGPT is already as intelligent as Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, I don't believe is very intelligent, but they say that he has very high IQ. So apparently ChatGPT is already as intelligent as Elon Musk. So if we have something even smarter than what we have already, so it's going to be a huge development for human civilization, and things are going to change in a huge way. But the problem is that if it falls into wrong hands, like say in the hands of North Korea, so you don't know what's going to happen. After that, if they develop an AGI that is very intelligent, they could cause trouble for all kinds of countries. Even if it falls into the hands of one single malicious individual, that person can wreak havoc on the world. Okay, so that is something that we are going to be very very we have to be very careful about. That is why I mean, I feel sorry, I'll go to the next point. So trust deficit. So what is going to happen is that if you have a lot of fake news, fake voices, fake videos coming into the market, into the social media or into the media in general, people will stop trusting them. If so, for instance, these days it is pretty much clear that if somebody calls you and asks you to share their OTP, you will not share it with them. Okay, you will probably share it with them if you hear the voice of your child or spouse or a relative. If you are sure that it is their voice, so you will share that. But the problem is, in future somebody will call you in your child's voice and ask you for the OTP, and you'll probably give it to them. But once this happens several times, you will stop trusting the voice on the other side. So, if that is going to happen in voice, in video, how are you going to trust anything at all? And if you are not able to trust any of the transactions, the society is going to collapse. So, that is something that's a major danger that we have to think about. And then there is the danger of a self aware artificial intelligence. If an artificial intelligence that knows everything about the world, has all the information and knowledge about the world, becomes self-aware, will it become like Skynet is in the Terminator movie and bomb the world or something like that? Or will it tell humans that, listen, you guys have done enough, you guys rest, let me take care of the world, I'll govern the world, you just do whatever I'm saying? Will it be benign or will it be malignant? So that is a major thing that we have to think about. And uh, uh, and hopefully we will be able to figure out ways to deal with it. The I will go to the last point here, which is human oversight, safety research, guardrails, international accords and treaties. Coming back to all the problems that we have talked about previously, all the threats, we require a huge amount of human oversight, a huge amount of safety research, guardrails, and international agreements to you have the nuclear non-proliferation treaty and missile control treaty. We will require those treaties to ensure that nations and individuals do not use artificial intelligence technologies in a malicious way to harm other humans. Uh, there is already a huge amount of safety research going on. It's not just computer scientists who are doing it; even philosophers are doing it. And the important thing is that uh, it has to continue into the future for as long as it is required, because I don't see a time when artificial intelligence will be totally safe. uh, Humans are also not totally safe, but since we are talking about an anthropocentric world where we have to take care of ourselves, so we have to have a way to control artificial intelligence, the threats of artificial intelligence. The threats are actually human beings, but if there are other threats also from artificial intelligence, we have to take care of it. So the second last point is the final point for me, which is you know creativity, human. What is the meaning of being human if a machine can be as human as you or more than human than you? Okay, is it our emotions that are human? Is it our agency that is human? Is it our ability to imagine and visualize something that does not exist that makes us human? We also have to think, uh, will machines one day be able to dream? Will they be able to imagine something that does not exist and be able to execute it? So all of these things are being discussed right now, have been discussed for a long time, but now it has become more pressing. And for us, even at the individual level, it is extremely important for us to think about what actually makes us human. I feel things like kindness, empathy, the ability to connect with other human beings or other creatures is something that, distinguishes us from a machine so far. And I hope that we retain that kind of edge into the future. Okay, so here are some other AI tools that I talked about, that I would like to talk about. I'm not going to go into a lot of details. The links are here. You can check out. DALI is a image generation tool. So let me just show you Mid Journey. This is something very interesting. I'm sorry about the slow speed. So you can see here on the right side, if you can see my mouse here, this is a realistic picture of a woman. But the fact is, it has been generated with this prompt, which says documentary, naturally beautiful young woman, solarization effect, adorned wabi sabi, close up intensity. That's all that was written into Midjourney's prompt, and it generated this. Okay, let's see something else that is funny. There was something really funny yesterday. These are all images generated out of prompts. These are not generated out of these are not Photoshop. These are generated out of prompts. You give it a prompt, Midjourney goes into its data bank of a huge amount of images, and then using very specialized algorithms joins them together to generate this. So Midjourney is a very powerful generative AI, and with every iteration it is getting better and better. So this prompt where a chimp is playing basketball, it says motion photography and anthropomorphic monkey basketball player dunks. Capture momentary, and then it follows. So you can see that it has done a great job of it. But the problem is when you see the hands. The hands have too many fingers. Now, this is something that if you learn more about artificial intelligence, you'll find out that AI is notoriously bad in creating hands. The problem is that AI has not been able to study hands properly because hands are available on the internet either very less or in very strange ways. So it's not yet able to generate hands accurately, which is a very interesting thing. Let me look at something else. There was something very interesting yesterday where there were characters from Star Wars. So look at this one, which says Walter Raleigh with Queen Elizabeth, ancient times, hyper realistic, ultra realistic. It looks like a photograph or a realistic painting, but probably it did not exist, and this has been created for the first time. So I would encourage you to check out Midjourney. The only issue is that I could not generate anything because it was asking me to buy tokens, and I did not want to buy tokens. Similarly, in DALI, it was asking me to buy tokens, but I did not want to. I will show you. Cloud is another chat GPT alternative, but it is currently not available in India. I don't know when it will be available. Bard is something that is available and I use a lot. Let me show you what it looks like. So I'll show you some past conversations that I've had with it. So this is a conversation that I just had based on one of the documents that were shared by Ekta. So please fix this reference and include the missing information as per APA style. So this was the reference, and it fixed the reference in APA style and filled up the information that was not there in the reference. So for instance, the page numbers are not there, the issue and all those are not there, and it filled it up, and I checked it is correct. So now here you have to remember that chat gpt's database free chat gpt's database ends at September 2021, whereas bard is more current. And if you are going to work on something that requires current information, please use bard. ChatGPT is better at creating content, textual content, but Bard is more current, and Bard is also getting better at creating textual content. So I always use a combination of ChatGPT and Bard in most of my work, depending on the kind of thing that I have to create. Okay, and Bard is absolutely free, and I don't know the limits of the number of words it will take in, but it's fairly free. It's absolutely free and very good with current information. Bing Copilot. So Bing Copilot is another. Uh, this is the offering from Microsoft. Microsoft Bing. So what happens is if you ask it something, it starts. Sorry, just a sec. I don't know why this is not opening. Yes. So now it has opened. So this is my computer seems to be slow. So this is welcome to the new Bing, your AI powered co-pilot for the web. You ask me anything. For some reason, I'm not able to ask anything. Also, it's already responding to something. So it is responding to my original question. As you can see, the text is generating here. And it also gives the references of some of the things, where it got this information from, as you can see here. This is the answer. What is AI? Artificial intelligence, a branch of computer science that aims to create intelligent machines. Okay. So it has created the answer instead of giving you the links to another website. And it is fairly smart, and it is also available in the Edge browser of Microsoft. And you can also chat with Bing in bing.com. Okay, this is one thing. Finally, Stable Diffusion is another tool like Midjourney to convert text prompts into images. Again, this requires something that I did not have. But you can keep it in your memory. You can try it out sometime. Okay, this is the final slide. I'll go through it very quickly. ChatGPT and Bard are not very good at academic copywriting, probably because they could not study too much of academic text. I don't know why, but I think most of the academic text is behind some kind of paywall, so they could not access it and they could not train themselves. Track changes, as far as I know, is going to be an issue. If you ask ChatGPT to edit something, it will just edit and give it a text. So that doesn't help you if you need to do track changes in Microsoft Word. But I have a feeling that Microsoft Word will embed some kind of artificial intelligence into Microsoft Word, into Word soon. I think they have already done it for Excel. So it will, Microsoft has already tied up with OpenAI. So if it will eventually come, and we will eventually have track changes based copy editing done in Microsoft Word itself. And then we will have to again worry about how much work comes to us from our authors. We have to sell, as editors, we have to sell it to authors that while they can do it, we can do a better job of it, because they don't know language as well as we do. So that is something we'll have to keep reinforcing. So now there is Bhaskar Raman had written in one of my posts, can chat GPT format a reference list? For this, I will show you Ekta's document very quickly. So this is the document Ekta had given. This left side is what she had given, and right side is what I could get Chat GPT to create. I think it was Bard, not Chat GPT. Sorry, I think it was Bard. So as you can see, this is the original format, and the prompt was to convert the reference list into APA style. Okay, and in APA style, it has given the year here and the issue number in parentheses, the year in parentheses here. So this is the basic change that has happened. As you can see here in this reference number 5, this was the original format where the names are initial and then last name, initial, last name. ChatGPT has Bard has converted it to last name, comma, initial, full stop, comma. So it has converted into quite correctly into APA format. Okay, these asterisks are what make it bold in ChatGPT. So once if you copy a bold text into Microsoft Word, the asterisk will come. What you have to do is probably run a macro to convert these the text between the asterisks into bold. Okay. Here you can see the full names of the authors are given, and the AI has converted it into the surname and the initials. But as you can see here, it has not given the missing information. And the example that I had given you, I took this text and put it into Bard. Sorry, not this one. Where is that Bard thing? Sorry, just a second. Okay, here I had filled in the fixed reference and asked Bard to fix the reference and fill the missing information, and it did it for me. So what we can do is we'll have to probably do it in two stages. First, fix the basic reference and get Bard to, in the second stage, get Bard to fill in the missing information. But what you have to do is carefully check each of those to ensure that it is not giving fake information. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's better than having to do it manually for each one of them. All you have to do is do a Google search and you'll find it. I think I had done it. So this article by Duikers IJM is maintenance of ovulation inhibition. Well, let's see whether it's in contraception 93.4. I have already done the Google search for it, and this is the PubMed article. So this is contraception 2016 93.4. So we have the correct article. So Bard has done a good job of it. So we have covered Bhaskar Raman's. Now Jyoti Rao had asked to give us whether it can do a simplified gist and infographics. Jyoti, it can very easily give you a gist. It has a limit to how many words you can insert into both Bard and ChatGPT can do it. There's a limit to how many words you can give it, but the gisting is very easy. I don't want to show you a demo, but you can try it out. For infographics, ChatGPT and Bard can't do it, but I have given the links of two tools that I found. I've not tried them, but there are two tools that they are saying that are AI based and can do that work. Okay. Then Sarita asked about writing research articles. Can it help you write research articles? Yes, it can help you write your research articles, but it will not write your research articles for you. What you can do, in fact, a lot of researchers are already using ChatGPT to write research articles. What they are doing is they are first writing out the whole research article with the method, the abstract, the conclusions, the results, everything, howsoever bad their English is, and then giving it to ChatGPT, maybe the whole article or section by section, to fix it, to fix the writing. And ChatGPT, because it already has the context, it just puts it together in a nice way. So that is how you can use ChatGPT to write research articles. But again, ChatGPT has a limit to how much text you can give it to it. If you take the paid version, I think you can use 32,000 tokens. Tokens are not words. You can find out what it means. Okay. Amita had asked about AI detection tools. I've given a link about AI detection tools here. I have not tried them out, but one of them is supposed to be the best. Let me try and check that link. I'm sorry this is taking so long. So originality.ai is supposed to be the best overall. I don't have any experience of it. You can try it out and find out. And then there is this question from Sean that how should our editing team prepare itself for this in this new scenario? I would say there are two aspects to this. One is obviously resistance. The other is cooperation. I would say cooperation. Basically, you have to resist the urge of authors and publishers to give everything to ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence. At the same time, you have to cooperate. By cooperation means is I mean learn the technologies that are coming up so that you are the person who knows the language as well as the tool. Okay, so I don't know how long language. I have a feeling that language will probably be our core competence forever. But you, because the tool is there, and people will look for somebody who knows how to use the tool. You should be the one who knows how to use the tool. I don't think there is any point in being shy about using the tool. There is no point in being, it's not a black and white situation, unfortunately. So that is why I'm saying, on the one hand, you have to resist, on the other hand, you have to cooperate, and that is the best way to go about it. Okay. Okay. So with that, my session ends. Now we are open for questions. I'm sorry this has taken so long. Oh, there's too many messages. I don't know. Okay, questions. Mute yourself, please, if you're asking a question. Or if you want to say something.
Yes, hi, Anupam. I'll
Is
just
it-
quickly, can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
This is Priya.
Okay. Oh, hi, Priya.
So I loved the last
I can
thing
only
that
see
you,
Dell in your screen, so I did not know.
yeah, okay. So I loved the last point that you said, resist and cooperate at the same time. I think it's just give you the amazing direction how to use AI tools as writers and editors. I've been using it, just quickly giving you some background for everyone. I'm adding content at a marketing agency now, and यहाँ पे I am using ChatGPT to the T. It saves me time because marketing agencies are very cut to cut. You don't have time. Your deliveries are always yesterday. When you have on top of that resource allocation that's not as adequate, or you're overworked, understaffed, these tools help you so much. But yes, human intelligence, of course, I won't get into that point. I think most all of us will agree human intelligence even now is far more superior. But I had a quick question. I just wanted to understand, maybe you already mentioned it, Anupam, when you're working, how much time in general are you able to save, using these tools, not necessarily one over the other?
See, if you look at it overall, you see, I have discussions with ChatGPT. I have long discussions with ChatGPT, and
That's
long does not mean I spend a lot of time, but it, because those discussions are very rich, and because it's able to give me a lot of information in very short time,
yeah.
it actually saves me a lot of thinking and researching. So I feel that overall I save a lot of time. And so, for instance, just the social media posts that I write for my clients, as I said, something that would take me like 5 hours, I'm able to do it in an hour. So I've already saved 4 hours. So that's 80% time saving. In fact, I think Ekta had said that it has done 80% of the 70 to 80% of the work of fixing the references. So I do save a lot of time.
Yeah, that's it from me.
Hi, Anupam. I have a question. This is Shushmita from Hyderabad.
Hi, Sushmita.
See, I was trying to give an instruction to ChatGPT. There was a paragraph I wanted it to improve it, better it. But I think it didn't understand because I said revise. So it just showed the spelling mistakes and some grammatical
So
errors.
you see, Sushmita, right? I'm sorry if I did not get the name.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Sushmita, this is why I said do not give ambiguous
Yes.
instructions. You have to say, please make the following paragraph read better in terms of grammar, syntax, word usage, clarity, comprehension, conciseness. Be
Okay.
very, very specific.
I get it now after your presentation. It's a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
I like the tool, ChatGPT. It's a wonderful, tool. Yes, for everything else in life, this also has its advantages and disadvantages. We've
Absolutely.
got to be wise to keep it under control.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So Anupam, I
Yes.
shared the links with you for the track changes in your WhatsApp. One is Edit GPT and the other one is, I think, some Google Chat GPT. So you can check that out and see how we can use the track changes mode. And secondly,
Okay.
what I wanted to ask was how much, how do you have to feed it in parts if you want to, make it correct, say grammar or punctuation or the whole thing, or there's no limit to how much you can feed if you're
So,
trying to,
so there is a limit to how much you can feed into the free ChatGPT 3.5
right?
version. I think it is 4,000 tokens. Now, what tokens means is something that you'll have to Google and find out. Basically, one token is 4 characters or 4 words or something like that. I had researched it because there's so much stuff I don't remember, but there is a limit. The paid version has a larger limit. So if you take the paid version, you can feed in more text. But if you have a whole book, 50,000 words, it's best to do it in stages, and not all together. And you'll have to stitch it together, because remember one thing, and this is very important: Chat GPT does not remember. Chat GPT does not remember past conversations. Even if it feels like it does, it
আবার
does not.
চালাতো
Its job is to not remember, because it's a privacy issue. Okay, so you cannot train it. You cannot train it. It will not remember your past chapters. For every time, you have to give the same instruction and check the output.
আবার চালাতে হবে
Hi,
Okay,
Anupam.
Jessica is
And
asking a question. Sorry, Jessica.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Anupam, for this broad overview. This is something I've been wanting to know for a long time. So many things have fallen in place in my head. But one question in terms of what you said at the end about resisting. Now, for a long time, many of us in Asia have felt that the question was about the debate about print and putting a journal online, especially within Asian feminist circles. We have fought over this a long time because a lot of us still felt we should not put the entire thing online because a lot of Asia still cannot access it. And now I am wondering whether this whole issue of Chat GPT is scraping things off the internet, right? So, what to what extent then is it a good idea for academics or those of us who write and put things up for free on things like academia.edu or ISSU? We've put up over the years our PPT so that it's more
I
accessible
understand.
before we published it.
Okay,
So
so
what
now
is
the
the
thing.
wisdom in that? Is that a bad thing now then?
So, academics normally publish articles free of charge. They want more people to read it. They are not like fiction authors who want people to read after paying for it. Okay. So the same example of authors suing OpenAI does not work here. What academics should always do is, as soon as you have published it online, you have the copyright over it, so don't worry about that. Somebody will, if somebody copies your idea, you will say that I published it first because it's online. Okay, so if you are going to worry about web scraping by large language models, I think it's a good idea, because if the large language model going forward and becomes smarter and more regulated, if it uses your content to show it to somebody, they will use your citation. They will cite you. Okay,
Yeah, that
like
was
just
my
like
next
Bard did.
question about because in Chat GPT it did not give any citations, but when you showed me Bard, there are citations, so that gives me some hope because I have a lot of authors who are using Chat GPT and not giving any footnotes, and I am having to research it all. You
No,
know,
no, no. You do one thing. You do one thing. Just copy and paste it into a Bard and say,
Bard.
ask it to check the citations. But the thing is that right now the situation is extremely fluid. As you know, recently many universities have stopped using AI detection tools. You know why? Because there were too many false positives. So
Mm.
a person who has written very well was being flagged as AI text. So that does not help.
Yeah.
Somebody
Thank
else
you.
had a question. Preeti.
Hi, Anupam. Yes, this is Preeti. I, excuse me for my voice. So what I was saying that I've been using ChatGPT, and there are times when I know that this particular section does not need a ChatGPT analysis, right? It can go through by me. I have done it. I've rephrased it, or I'm translating it, editing it, whatever I'm doing it. But there's a kind of doubt that creeps in, that what if ChatGPT gives the better answer or a better solution, right? So this is maybe opposite of what we have been studying, but using chat gpt even when we don't need it, and creating some kind of self doubt in our minds, are we good enough, how to fight that?
So, this is a question about what you define as good enough. What is the definition of good? Now, I'll tell you what. Do you remember the phone numbers of all your friends? You don't.
No.
Everything is in a
Correct.
mobile phone. So I'll tell you that you are not good enough. That's not how technology works. So the problem is that, the definition of good enough keeps changing. It's a dynamic concept. It keeps changing. Don't worry about using chat gpt. You are a human being who has certain aspirations, certain needs. Use the tool to fulfill those aspirations and those needs. So for instance, I love writing, and if I have to write for a client, I use chat gpt. But if I have to write for myself, I don't use chat gpt. I write it for my pleasure, for my enjoyment. I have never given my writings to chat gpt to fix, because then where is the fun? Then there is no fun. So that is
Correct.
my thought about this.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session.
You're welcome.
Anupam, this is Jayantan.
Hi,
If you can
Jay.
hear me. Hi,
Yes,
how
yes,
are you?
I'm good.
It was a wonderful presentation. I've never used artificial intelligence at all, actually, and I am kind of afraid to approach it. But after this presentation, I think I'll start using it.
You please do. It is absolute. At least Chat GPT, they have made it very sure that the interface is very user friendly. So you remember I had shared some prompts some time ago. Just try using those, and it's very easy. And experiment, play with it. I have played with it a lot, and there's a lot of fun. And you ask it weird questions. It's good fun.
Okay.
Anupam,
One small question more, actually. Have you ever tried with regional languages? Any languages other than English?
No, I have
No, you
asked.
haven't.
So I have tried some prompts in which I have asked it to change a text from English to Japanese. So it is possible that it can translate it into Indian regional languages also, but I have not tried it. But Bard says that you can ask it
This
in
fucking
English
looks
and
because of
Hindi.
my
So I think
Okay.
you just have to try it out.
Okay, I will do that. Yes.
Actually, it does
Anupam,
it
can I
well
just
in Hindi. It
And
does.
Jayanthan, I
It
have
does
tried
it
it
work
using
in
Telugu
Hindi.
language.
yeah, even I've tried it in Hindi.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry, Priyanka has a question.
Hi, Anupam. Thank
Hi,
you for the
Priyanka.
session. Anupam, I was just wondering, because you said that you are working on social media for some client, creating content for their social media. So, are there any copyright issues that can come up if we use any of the generative tools for creating content? Because we do tend to copy styles, right? I had this one person in the company say that, we can actually do a post by asking generative AI to create art works in styles of painters, different painters. Right, that's okay. They all the famous ones who've been dead for I don't know how many years, so no copyright applies there. But what about something which is very, for example, if I say do it in create a logo in style of say Nike or something of that sort, wouldn't
See,
that be, yeah?
so the issue about copyright or over images generated by Mid Journey or the text generated by Chat GPT, these are currently being debated. There is no final resolution yet, but I
Yeah.
feel that soon the courts in US will rule in favor of the authors if there is explicit copying. So if you are going to ask Mid Journey to create a logo like Nike, it is not going to be a logo like Nike. It will be logo like Nike. It is not going to be the Nike logo. So
Yeah.
obviously, anything that is inspired can be a separate copyright. It can't be the original copyright. But if you are going to use the styles of famous painters to create a painting, then you are treading into risky area. Okay. So I suggest whenever using Chat GPT, you never ask it to use the writing style of a particular author. You just don't ask it to use anybody's style, just general questions. Okay, that is safer.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Jessica.
Thanks.
Anupam,
Yes.
I have a question. It is in the ethical realm, yes, but in everything now we have a safeguarding policy for children and adults, that distinction. So, does ChatGPT allow children to go in and ask whatever they want? And my question is also in terms of the high incidence of mental health issues and youngsters and teenagers who have ideation. And if it, for
Yes.
example, asks, tell me n number of ways to kill
I got
myself,
it. I
would it
understand the question.
answer that?
So,
And what are the ethical safeguards? Are there ethical safeguards which will shut down such questions? Um,
a lot of people try something called jailbreaking ChatGPT. ChatGPT already has guardrails. If you ask for financial advice, if you ask for health advice, if you ask for mental health advice, it will say that after it has given you some tips, it will say, please meet a qualified person to discuss this. This is only some suggestion. They don't take this as a thing that you should do. So those guardrails ChatGPT has already put, but it's like internet. Children can go over internet and search whatever they want, like a Google search. So that is
yes.
a risk area. Plus, I think I have not seen any age verification in using ChatGPT. So I don't think there is any age limit, lower limit for it. Okay.
Okay, Anupam, can I say something here?
Yes.
Yeah, so my son, 14-year-old, he's been using ChatGPT extensively for his studies and other projects. So, and of course, he's had quite a good success also with using it. But yes, it does have some safeguards because when he, asks him leading questions and questions that can get him into trouble. So the ChatGPT does say that, I'm sorry, I'm not able to help, or this is not a relevant question.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
there.
But what I want to add is that a lot of safety research is currently working to ensure that malicious agents don't take over ChatGPT and cause havoc and such things. Thinking is far ahead of where it is currently. The only fear is that the technology is changing very fast. Jyoti, you have a question.
Yes, thanks, Amanupam, for a very good summarization of the topic. Um, Interestingly, you were answering my question about generating infographics, and that's exactly when I lost my connection. So, could you, like in a sentence, repeat what you said about generating infographics?
So
And
Jyoti,
yeah,
yes.
I have
So
two more questions.
So
After,
ChatGPT cannot generate infographics, but I
okay,
feel there are ChatGPT provides you application programming interfaces or called APIs that you can
okay,
use to create your own programs to generate things. Okay, but there I have in my presentation given a couple of links to websites that say that we are using AI to generate infographics. Just try them out. I have not tried them out because I
okay,
did not have the time. But
Okay.
when I share the presentation, just have a look.
okay, great.
Jyoti,
Quick
can I
two,
answer your question?
sure.
For infographics, you should try and use Canva. They have the AI. I have used it for a couple of images. Though
Okay,
the AI is not very accurate, it does a pretty decent job if you give it the right kind of a prompt. And
okay.
we also have the option where it makes infographics and all that. On I think on Instagram also, you'll just have to search and they'll give you step-by-step process of how to do it.
Does it
So
work
Canva,
with academic content as well?
yeah, all content. People are making the complete social media posts and the other presentations and stuff like that. It just
Awesome.
your prompts have to be accurate.
In the
Okay.
brief, can you repeat the name of this particular?
Canva Canva software. It's a image software.
Yeah, Canva. Okay.
Canva. I'll just share the link in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. I have two more
Welcome.
questions, Anupa.
Yes.
One is about hallucinating. So, interestingly, when you mentioned that, I remember when ChatGPT first came out, my friend was trying it out, and then it just churned up these ghost references that don't exist anywhere actually. And we spent hours trying to trace those references or citations. And now we know that it turns up all kinds of nonsense like this, which is interesting in itself. But my question is, see, with the publications we knew where to look for those publications and then eventually figure out they don't exist. But what about other textual content where, how do you find out whether it's nonsense content, or because you don't
See,
have
I'll tell
any.
you what. There are two types of content. One is opinion and the other is a fact.
Mhm.
Opinion is something that you will judge. Fact is something that you'll take with a pinch of salt. It's as simple as that.
Okay. So, kind of related to this, when the softwares that detect whether ChatGPT has been used to generate content, how does it do that? Like, are there any digital trails that ChatGPT leaves behind, or is it just assessing the quality of the content?
I
How?
don't know, but I have a feeling that they are just assessing the quality of the text.
Oh God. Okay.
They also check the patterns of text generation by you take 10,000 pages of chat GPT conversation, see how chat GPT talks, and then use another AI to derive that
Mm.
pattern, and using that AI you check the assignment or something and see whether that is chat GPT generated. The problem is that everything depends on how large your model is, how deep your neural network is. So it's not perfect yet.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Vishal, you have a question?
Yeah, Anupam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, more than a question, just a number of thoughts that were raised. One is, how do clients react to this? I mean, there's a conundrum here in terms of, you take on, they just want a whole bunch of work done, and they're not picky about, will they be picky, will they not be picky about whether you use AI or not? What is their priority? You get the work done. They don't care how you do it. And the other thing is, then how is that from our perspective? What you're doing is what everybody else is doing. There's nothing that distinguishes you. If everybody is using chat GPT as an editor, what makes you different? Do you become dispensable then? And is anybody interested in somebody who's indispensable? I mean, from a client's perspective, do you really care, and are you interested in the quality from that perspective? That somebody who is themselves doing it is maybe adding more value to, who has this whole background of experience that's coming in and editing your work, and that background shows in the work. Versus somebody who you're not interested in that, you have a deadline, you just want the work to be done. Where does the client stand? Where do you stand as an individual? If you become just what everybody else is, that's no way, there's no way that you can stand out. And the reverse is also true. If I stand out, yes, it works to my advantage, but do I really find people who are interested in me and the value I bring as an editor? Or am I just, banging my head against the wall? Do I just go with what everybody else is doing? Another thing is, since I watch a lot of TV and films, with your talking, two things came to mind in terms of how AI can go wrong. I remember one episode of X-Files, which was one of the series that dealt with paranormal
Yeah.
and things on the edge, is where this Mulder and Scully, they are partners, and she starts to, something happens, and she starts to suspect her partner. She starts to distrust her partner, and it takes a long time for her to realize that what she sees and who she's interacting with is actually her partner. So that's one thing of distrust. The
Yeah.
other thing, the other side of the spectrum is this really nice movie called Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams,
Lovely movie.
where
Lovely
he's
movie.
an android. So these are things that came up as you were talking. So, regarding my question on, does your value really matter as an individual? If you can share your thoughts.
So I feel that we have to start looking at value, the definition of value from a new lens. If writing well is a value, is your common value that you provide your clients, then that is the value of that. Just consider Chat GPT as inflation. You have 10 rupees. If there is inflation, the value of that 10 rupees goes down. So ChatGPT is the inflation in your ability to write. The value of your writing has gone down because ChatGPT has become so much better. Machine has become so much better at writing. Okay, so the market value has gone down. So now we have to start thinking from the point of view of what value, what does value mean to me? I feel that we have to start thinking what are the things that artificial intelligence cannot do and become better at that. It cannot interact with human beings the way we can. It cannot build networks the way we can amongst us. It cannot show the kind of empathy, kindness, and vision or imagination that we can. So that is some. So all of these things are what we have to get better at until ChatGPT or artificial intelligence catches up with us. So planning, creativity, imagination, empathy, building networks, building connections. These are the things that I feel are going to be the value for the next maybe 10 years or 50, 30 years or whatever.
Yeah. Thanks, Anupam.
Divya has a question. Oh, sorry, Apramit has a question. Sorry, Divya, before you, Apramit has a question.
Hi, Anupam. So thank you for this wonderful presentation. So I had two questions actually. So regarding the usage of ChatGPT, so one would be, is there a benefit to refreshing every time you have a query? In the sense that you ask ChatGPT to be like give you some advice as a financial planner, and immediately after that, your next question was take the role of a medical editor. So in your experience, does the previous question uh, have any, sort of
Yes. So
checking
basically,
to that? Yeah.
you're talking about historical record within the
Yeah.
conversation window. So what I have seen is that, if you don't close that particular window and you go back to that window, ChatGPT has several windows on the left. I'll just show you. I'll share my screen and show you. So where is ChatGPT? So as you can see on the left here, there is my writing pad window, which I have created to put random stuff. This is where I was preparing for the presentation. This is where I put stuff related to medical editing, and this is where I discuss stuff for social media. So what I have seen is generally that it remembers the kind of that it remembers the text within that window. But I also know, and I have checked with from various sources, that it cannot be trained on a particular way of doing things. So I think I'm not an expert on this. You'll have to try it out yourself. The next question.
Okay, so
To answer
my
your
next
question,
Sorry,
Apramit.
Venkat, let me just
Yeah.
finish Apramit's second question.
No, this is just connected to the first question. So you can go back to the same window, whatever you showed. Okay, suppose I have asked a question. There's a series of answers that is given. I go back to that same window after about 10 days. I still ask a question. It still answers.
With the same context?
Yeah, keeping that whatever you've already asked. Okay, but as long as that is there, okay, preserved.
Yes. I think that has been my experience as well.
All right. Coming to my second question. So is there some sort of a best practice, like you said, that like when using ChatGPT, I get a response and then I somehow want it to be better, perfect, more perfect in the sense that, say, the one with the answer, like you had it. So is there a best practice? And I kind of end up wasting a lot more time than I should have. So is there kind of a best practice that you employ when using ChatGPT?
Best practice to get the perfect answer, is that what you're asking?
In the sense, not like in Wikipedia, when you read an article, you go down a rabbit hole, right? You click on the blue links. So somehow, like in like that, in ChatGPT, you end up asking your questions after questions to get your best answer, basically.
Right.
So how do I stop? Yeah.
I know. I feel that it's a struggle. It's not ChatGPT's fault. It is our ability to get the prompt right in the first instance. ChatGPT is still asking, referring to the same database, but what happens is that if you keep asking questions, ChatGPT's context also keeps growing while you're asking. So that is how its answer keeps improving. But if you give the entire context in a 100-word prompt in the beginning itself, then probably its answer will be much better, which I have seen is much better.
Right. Thank you, Anupam, and thank you.
You're welcome. Cora, do you have a question?
Yeah, Anupam, what I was asking was, with everyone using Chat GPT, like, I mean, maybe if you're just using it, say, for a para, or you're using it after you've done an editing job, how would an author or a publisher react to you using it? I mean, can they accuse you of, using Chat GPT to do the job? I mean, where do you draw that line of,
You
being
draw the
accused
line
of
in the
using?
beginning itself. That is when you take on the work, and if you intend to use any AI tool, tell the author, I want to use the AI tool. That's as simple as that. Let it not be a surprise to your client.
Right, but if you're basically using it maybe for just, one para, or you're using it after you've edited the job just to see if it could do a better job. So, I mean, you don't want them thinking that you've used ChatGPT to do your job. So where do you draw that line, or how do you kind of,
Well, it's an ethical question. You look at the volume. If you're doing minor things using ChatGPT, I don't think you really need to disclose it. But if you're going to do the entire editing through ChatGPT, or even major chunks of it without actually putting in any effort, then you should ideally disclose it.
Yeah, Cora, what I think is, to add to Anupam's point, is it's something like if the authors themselves also use Grammarly, or if we use Perfected to just, run the scan after we've finished our complete edits to make sure that we've not missed something. So you obviously you draw the line at that. So
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
same
That's
thing
my point. I mean, sometimes you've already edited and you just want to know, hey, could I have done maybe a little better job than that by using Chat GPT? So that's what I'm asking basically. Or like
No, I
like
think that
she said about
that
using
leads
Perfected
to,
or Grammarly.
I think that leads to double guessing our own abilities. So the less we use, the better it is.
So I feel that if you're going to use it a lot, disclose it. If you're going to use it just a bit, there's no point in disclosing.
Yeah, I figure because I tried
Basically,
writing a paragraph and I felt that I did a much better job than Chat GPT. So,
I'll
but
tell
then,
you, I'll
so
tell you the
I
rule
think
of
basically,
disclosure.
yeah.
I'll tell you the rule of disclosure. The rule of disclosure is, if people find out that you have done this, will you be embarrassed? Okay, if you are going
Yeah.
to be embarrassed, then tell it. If you're not going to be embarrassed, like something really minor, then there's no point in telling. But if
I
your
think
level
if
of
you're using it just for cross-checking, I don't think, sorry, Anupam, I just want to say that if she's done the job already and she's just using it for cross-checking, then I don't think any disclosure is required. But if she's doing it to do the editing per se, as you say,
that is what I
then
meant.
yeah.
It's like using spell check. If you're using it like spell check or get a general sense, then it's fine.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll add something here
I
which is
agree. I
amusing.
agree.
I'll add something here, a little amusing, but contrary to all the ethics that we are talking about. I'm using a platform to have my website hosted by somebody and all that. Okay, there is something where there is an option that tells you if you don't want AI to be using whatever you're putting up there, you have to specifically say, please don't use my content. Okay, what that means is if I don't say that, they're going to use whatever I'm putting up there.
They will use it.
It's very funny. That is, we are thinking so much in asking so many questions. Should I do this? Should I do that? OpenAI is simply using whatever is available.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is going to, so the problem is, or rather, I envisage a future where using AI tools like ChatGPT for editing and for writing becoming the norm rather than the exception. These technologies, there's no going back unless there is some kind of an apocalypse or something like that.
I
Sarita
have
has a question.
similar question. If I use not ChatGPT, but if I use GPT-4 or Bard for, say, editing a poem, and then will they use my poem and as a basis for other people's work?
I'm not sure. Just check the terms and conditions in ChatGPT and Bard whether they will use
No,
your
no.
prompts. as training data. Just check.
Can I just add something? So my son had an assignment to give on a topic which is related to some UN issue, and it had not covered the earthquake that had come, I think, in
Turkey.
yeah, Turkey, right. So he immediately, the chat told him, GPT, that, I don't have the latest data. So he went to Wikipedia, took the complete page, uploaded it to ChatGPT, and then the ChatGPT gave him the specific presentation points that he wanted. It took him like 5 minutes. And he's like, my work is done.
That's not what she's
It learns.
asking.
Whatever you feed him. No, but whatever you feed him, if she's feeding the poem and getting it edited, the ChatGPT now knows that poem. So it will
No,
use
but
it.
the
It has
point
learned it.
is, the difference is, will ChatGPT retain the poem in its memory? It will fix it in the window, but will it retain it in its memory and use it
Okay.
for somebody else?
See,
that
that's
I'm not
what
sure.
I was trying to say.
Yeah,
Unless
can
I
okay.
tell, go into my website and feed that, so please don't use it. Yeah, unless I specifically say that, it will use it. See, it's very funny. Actually, it should be the other way around. If somebody has to ask, he asks for permissions for tables, figures, etc. Okay, while we are editing. So to use it, you have to ask permission. Here it is. If you are saying don't use it, for that you have to put a disclaimer. It's very funny, actually. That means
Do you
they
think
are
it will
openly
really
saying that
listen to
we
you,
will use it,
Dr.
whatever
Venkat?
is there.
I doubt it's going to listen to you. If you say don't use it, do you think
No, see,
artificial
I'm saying
intelligence is
based on the
not going to
provision that
use
I'm
it?
actually seeing
I
from my
don't think
service
they're going to
provider.
listen
Okay,
to
I'm
you.
seeing that.
They're
It's very
definitely
funny,
not
very, very
listening to
funny.
you. I mean, authors wouldn't be suing if they were going to listen to you. All the authors are suing because they're using your work.
Now, I'm saying simply based on what I'm seeing from my service provider. I'm using something as a platform. Then I'm saying that. Okay, this question has been asked even there in those communities.
Okay, so can I come in here and say something, please?
Yes.
Okay, so to understand, to reply to Swati Shom's question, the answer is an unequivocal yes. ChatGPT will retain it unless, as Venkat underlines, you specifically tell it not to retain your material. And as Kura says, we don't know really if they're going to honor the terms of that agreement. The way it works is, and as you pointed out, in the terms of service, it is very clearly written out that whatever is fed into chat box is part of their database. And that is the basis of the copyright litigation that has been filed against OpenAI in the US by several groups represented by a typographer lawyer called Matthew Butterick. So if you follow Matthew Butterick, you will see the terms of the case and the primary sticking points. So to in a nutshell, to put all of the discussion that we have been having in terms of copyright, if you're going to share sensitive material, that is to say material that you would rather not see anybody, then don't share it. It's that simple. If you want to take a risk, go ahead, tick the box that says that do not share my material and share it. And if you don't care, then do whatever you like. That's the bottom line.
Thanks, Surit. Sarita had a question. Is Sarita still around? Okay, Priyamvada had a question. Preeta, sorry. Preeta had a question. Are you there,
Yeah.
Preeta? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just wondering, suppose you and I, both of us, give a similar prompt asking to write an essay or something on a similar topic. Do you think the response that AI will, ChatGPT will generate will be the same or similar?
I have a feeling it will be similar. I'm not sure about same, but I think it will be similar. I don't know. I think you and I will have to test it out.
Test it out once, yeah, because I had this feeling on general topics sometimes most of us are writing or doing a similar kind of work. So we'll all get the same thing in that case. Then our writings or our work will become very similar.
So we have to ensure that our prompts are slightly different.
Yeah, maybe, yes.
In any case, the thing about more people using the same tool over a period of 5 years or 10 years is that everything that you see everywhere will start looking like the same
Like
thing,
the same, exactly
it
the
will
same.
be fairly boilerplate after that.
Yeah, and thank you for this session, Anupam.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Who else has a question? Yes,
I
Sarita.
tried this where, Anupam, I tried doing this with just changing the tone of the thing, like about Goa, where the casinos bringing in money and casinos spoiling the youth. And it gave me two different things. One was about just the one tone of word
Yes.
about Goa's beautiful beaches and casinos. And one was a negative piece and one was a positive piece. So just one word change and it
So
gives you
that is what I
completely
say
different.
when I said you have to give behavioral cues.
Yes.
If your words, your prompts are already displaying a mood or a behavior, it gets the idea from it. So the way you prompt, the way you interact with it completely changes things. It's your use of the words.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you say it's good, it gives you a very rosy picture, and you say it's corrupting the youth, it gave me a completely different picture.
So don't blame it.
Okay, thank you, Cora. That answers my question also.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Thanks for the wonderful session. This is
Thank you,
Sarita.
Sarita.
Yeah, I got many of my answers, which I was supposed to that I will be getting the answers from your sessions, and
Okay.
yeah, my doubts were clear regarding whatever prompts and the usage you actually summarized in the full session. It is actually what many of my doubts regarding writing and even editing has been cleared with this. And yes, the Bard and the Chat GPT, the difference and the good part and the bad part, what you included in your section was very, very good. It was actually, I am going through Chat GPT and using Bard also. And I am also doing the same thing. I am, for current articles or anything, I am actually concentrating on Bard. And to create a new content, I am using Chat GPT. So it
Yes.
is really very good and interactive session. I was going through all the discussions also, and it cleared many of my doubts. Thanks for this session.
Thank you, Sarita. So one
Thank
thing I
you.
wanted to add here is that ChatGPT now has a mobile app, so you guys can try it out. I haven't tried it out. That should change a lot of things. And I think it also has released a voice assistant, so you could have voice conversations with it. So that is
Yeah,
something.
it's all in paid version, not for the free, I think,
Okay.
because I'm using free, it's not there in that. It's
Okay.
there for Chat GPT 4, it's there in the paid version. Paid version is very, very good. It's really 10 times more smarter than Chat
Yes,
GPT
that's what
3.5.
I've heard.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for it to learn how to copy edit. Then I'll take a subscription.
Yeah, sure. Even I am learning to free on it. Then I'll be taking the subscription part.
Yes,
Anupam,
Abha.
one question. Like I'm an author, right? So I write so much, and there's so much of my stuff on the net. So is there a way of checking whether it's using my? I mean, I know the big time authors, like they're already suing Chat GPT and all these all the there are legal issues involved because Chat GPT has taken a lot of their material for their training work. But like an author like me, who has a lot of stuff also online, is there any way of checking if ChatGPT is using that for the learning or it's being used in form?
I haven't thought about it and I actually don't know. But just make sure you have a copyright line in all your online stuff. That is very important. But I have a feeling that if it is online, then it has probably already scraped it. So
Yes,
just if I
Anupam,
find out, I'll let you know if there is any way to find out.
Thank you. And what about the print stuff? Is it also using printed material of authors, very established authors, worldwide known authors, of course. I mean, we know that. But is it using almost every author's work for training? Do you have any idea?
I think it has billions of pages of text data, even from books. The only thing is that if it is available in digital format, it has scanned it. I don't think if it is not available in digital format, it would have scanned it.
Okay, but digital format, all the books have nowadays because you have ebooks. So
So, but I don't think Amazon would have allowed it to freely scan their, thing.
Yes. So that's that's a good thing, I suppose, for authors. You know.
But remember that Google has a lot of preview pages in Google Books.
Yes, that I have seen. In fact, a lot of my poetry is out there. You know, it's already there. Like half of the book of the poems is out there, which is okay in a way also, because then people get access and they understand and they read. So it's fine. I don't have issues with that. But I'm saying that if all your work is going to be just be available like this, then you're not going to be getting any royalties or any kind of.
So the workaround is that you forget about making money out of royalties. Think about making money out of t-shirts. You put your quotes on your t-shirts and sell them to the
Well,
fans.
that's an idea.
Yeah, I started painting, but if they start copying your painting work also, and if you can digitally turn out better paintings, then where do you stand
That
even
is
as an
why
artist?
that is why I bought a book on personal branding. A Kora Bhatia original is not the same as ChatGPT original.
And another thing, Anupam, supposing you're participating, for instance, in a short story competition. I mean, how do you make, ensure that, somebody who's using Chat GPT has not done a much better job because they are using language that probably you don't want to use? Because I tried doing a small thing with Chat GPT. They came out with such flowery language. It was like, oh my God, I don't want to use such flowery language.
So you
So, like,
change
how
the
do you
prompt.
prevent that thing, or somebody using a Chat GPT and doing a much better job than you?
If you tweak the prompt, it will stop giving flowery language. It depends on the kind of prompt you give. Okay. The other thing is that Amazon has been flooded with books created in ChatGPT, and there are uh, writing contests and poetry contests that are being flooded with stories being created through ChatGPT. These are issues that they are currently dealing with. I don't think they have figured out a solution yet.
Yeah, how do you know that your job becomes like you're competing against Chat GPT, which is if it's a short story competition. So it's kind of
You don't know, so you
scary.
probably just pray and wish that everything is fine. Priyanka, you have a question?
Not really, Anupam. I just wanted to add to that discussion about somebody had asked here that the prominent authors, at least it has scanned, ChatGPT has scanned, but that's not true. Like I had given a prompt a few weeks back saying a summary for the book by Michelle Obama, the book called The Light We Carry. Right? The reply that I got was, I apologize, but as of my last knowledge update in September 2021, there is no book titled The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. Now, this is the thing that that book was released before that date. Right? So there are some authors who have managed to circumvent this issue of ChatGPT not reading their books. There are others where you get all the summaries very easily, but then there are certain people who have actually managed. Maybe that would be a good way of figuring it out for, especially for authors. Maybe they can also figure out how Michelle Obama or her publishing house has managed to do it, and they can look into that as well for themselves. So I just thought I'll just add that there.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Should we close now? I will share the PowerPoint presentation, and I also hope to share some of the articles that I have read and some of the videos that I have watched to educate myself for this presentation, and that will happen maybe in the next week or so. So thank you everyone. Thank you very much for joining this presentation. It was I'm really exhilarated by the number of people who joined. This was really good, and if you have any further questions or any observations or any tips or anything, please feel free to ask me or text me or put it on the ICF FB page or ask on WhatsApp so that we can continue the conversation. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Anupam. Great
Anupam.
discussion.
Bye.
Thank you, Anupam.
Thanks, Anupam.
Thanks,
Bye.
Anupam.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Anupam.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.